Greetings to everybody out there in the No DQ galaxy. Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for July the 20th, 2020. This was the post Extreme Rules edition of Monday Night Raw. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Thank you for watching, whether it's live or on demand. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Spread the word. We kicked off Raw with an eye for an eye recap from Extreme Rules. The Messiah, Seth Rollins, came out with his disciple, Murphy. Still no Austin Theory. We had Tom Phillips inform us that Rey Mysterio is expected to make a full recovery after having the eye removed from its socket. Apparently, doctors will be able to place it back in. Mysterio will not lose his vision. Man, Mysterio has had a rough 2020, I have to say, from being thrown off the roof at Money in the Bank, although he did land on the secondary roof, and then getting his eye damaged not once but twice. It's been tough, but it's been a minor miracle that Rey Mysterio will not lose his vision. We can all be thankful for that, right? Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat, first one of the evening, says, "Are you excited for McIntyre versus Ziggler again?" Again? It's happening again? What? By the way, guys, if you're going to leave a super chat, I do appreciate it, but please try to stick to the topic of the video. I have no idea what he's talking about. McIntyre, Ziggler? They're having a second match? What are you talking about? I know no such thing. So anyways, back to Raw. We had Seth Rollins, who talked about what happened with Rey Mysterio will stay with him for the rest of his life. And it makes him sick to his stomach what happened to Rey Mysterio. The PC trainees started chanting shame at Rollins. And then Rollins asked the WWE Universe if they regret what they've done to him. It's the people that are responsible for what happened to Rey Mysterio. It's the people that turned Rollins into the Monday Night Messiah. And he said that actions have consequences, and now Mysterio is out of sight. And now the greater good can continue on Monday Night Raw. This is when Aleister Black appeared, and he said he is there to rectify the situation. He started brawling with Murphy. Rollins fled the ring, and then we had a commercial break. When we came back, we had a match between Rollins and Black, and Rollins missed the curb stomp. Black hit the Black Mass, but was not able to make the cover because his arm was hurt. Rollins escaped to the outside of the ring, and then Murphy tried to interfere. He got hit with a Black Mass. We had another commercial break, and after the break, the match continued. Rollins finally hit the stomp, delayed for a little bit, and then finally covered Black and scored the 1-2-3 victory. I thought Black was going to kick out. When Rollins was not making the cover right away, I thought, oh, okay, Black will kick out of this. But nope. Rollins delayed with the pinfall and still pinned Aleister Black, who this was either his first or second singles loss on Raw since he debuted on the main roster. A rare pinfall loss for Aleister Black in WWE. It's unfortunate, too, because Rollins' curb stomp, he used it 6 or 7 times on The Fiend, and The Fiend just kept popping up, and then The Fiend went on to lose to Goldberg, but we're supposed to forget that, folks. Caleb Jacobs with a $1.04 super chat, but no comment. Thank you for that, Caleb. I appreciate it. And after the match, we had a further beatdown on Aleister Black. Murphy attacked Black, and then Rollins smashed Black's injured arm into the ring post and then onto the desk repeatedly, and then finally hit the curb stomp, the foot stomp, whatever you want to call it, the stomp to the injured arm of Aleister Black. I wonder if now we're going to get an arm for an arm match between Aleister Black and Seth Rollins. Moving on here, we had MVP and Bobby Lashley talking to Ron Simmons backstage. A random cameo by the man once known as Farouk. And then R-Truth appeared and complimented MVP on his nice replica championship. MVP then invited Truth to come to the ring with him and Lashley, but this was all a setup. Truth got blindsided by Shelton Benjamin, who super kicked Truth and pinned him to win the 24/7 7-Eleven I-95 championship. Then we had this new trio come to the ring, MVP, Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. The official team name, it's not the Beatdown Clan, but rather it's the Hurt Business. MVP bragged about becoming the new U.S. champion, even though there was no official ruling on it. MVP said that Apollo decided to stay home and nurse his wounds, and they're going to move on to something else. They're going to beat up Dumber and Dumber, which was a reference to Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, is the 24/7 title an excuse to get R-Truth on television? It very well could be at this point, because it honestly serves no other purpose at this stage of the game, in my opinion. Dylan's Wrestling Stuff with a $5 super chat, thank you very much for that. He says, time for Kairi Sane to go back to Japan. We'll talk about Kairi Sane in about 10 minutes or so. But thank you for the super chat. We had Ricochet and Cedric Alexander come out, and they had to mention that Dumb and Dumber was relevant back in 2006 when MVP's career was relevant. Now, of course, Dumb and Dumber was released in 1994, so not really the best reference there, but whatever. And then the bigger story here was that Cedric Alexander and Ricochet had a tag team partner to go against the Hurt Business. And that partner was Mustafa Ali, making his return to WWE programming, now part of the Raw brand. I guess the hacker storyline, that is done for. It is no more. We had a 6-man match. Pretty good stuff here. Ali got the hot tag. Lashley broke up the pinfall attempt, and then Ali ended up sending Lashley to the outside of the ring, and with the help from his partners, Ali did a big dive to Lashley. Lashley went over the desk. Ali got back in the ring and pinned the self-proclaimed United States champion, MVP, with the 450 splash. I guess I'm okay with this since MVP is technically not the champion, because you guys know I'm not really a big fan of the champion getting beat in matches all the time, but I suppose in this case doesn't really matter because MVP is just the self-proclaimed United States champion. The Game is on 100 with a $2 super chat says, wow, what a name, the Hurt Business. Give me a break. The question is it better than the Beatdown Clan? Let me know in the chat room. Beatdown Clan or Hurt Business? Which one? Pick your poison. Good comeback here for Ali, by the way. Nice showing from him. We had a Randy Orton promo backstage. He talked about how all of his friendships are done, and it felt great what he did to Edge and Christian, and now he's going to punt kick the Big Show in the skull, and he will immensely enjoy ending Big Show's career once and for all. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Ali should avoid association with the jobber Ricochet. For those of you tuning in for the first time, Psycho Jet Black doesn't like Ricochet for some reason. I don't know why. He doesn't like Ricochet. He doesn't like EC3. You have to ask him. We had Ron Simmons once again backstage talking to the Viking Raiders. I still do not understand why Ron Simmons was on this show. Just felt like a random cameo for no good reason. We had a Big Show video package, which was pretty cool to let the younger fans know what the Big Show was all about, going back to WCW back in the day. We had Bianca Belair backstage, talked about how she's the greatest, EST, of course, at the end, the greatest, the fastest, the strongest, yada, yada, yada. Peyton Royce got in her face and said she's the dumbest. Then Ruby Riott showed up and said, well, she's not that dumb because they picked up the win. And basically this set up a singles match between Peyton Royce and Ruby Riott, a rematch from a couple of weeks ago. And let's put Garrett in permanent timeout. We got a couple of trolls. Jeff is the troll slayer tonight. So big thank you to good old JM Jeff Meacham for slaying these trolls in the chat room. We had this match between Peyton Royce and Ruby Riott. There was no Billie Kay on this show. She was apparently on assignment representing the Iconics, but hopefully it's nothing serious. Hopefully it's not what people will naturally speculate that it is, why she's not around. Hopefully she just missed the show for some non-health reason. But anyways, we had Peyton Royce trying to cheat, use the ropes for leverage. That did not work, and then Ruby came back, hit the Riott kick, and scored, I believe, her first singles victory in 2020, because I know she's been on this losing streak. It's been a while since Ruby Riott has picked up a win, and her reaction was like, holy crap, I actually won a match. So maybe this will be a reverse of fortunes for Ruby Riott, and she can start to turn her career around. Although the last person that had this storyline was Kurt Hawkins, and that did not really work out so well, although he did get a tag team title run out of it. So, hey, we'll see what happens. Next up, we had a backstage promo with Andrade, Angel Garza, and Zelina Vega. Once again, the idea of dissension between the teams, and Vega basically said they're on the same page, and the Street Profits have been hiding from them. All of a sudden, the Street Profits came in, jumped Andrade and Garza. We had a tag team match, non-title, interestingly enough. And this time, the Street Profits did not go through the crowd for their entrance. They learned better from the last time, which was right around when there was the outbreak of COVID cases. Good match here. Street Profits look like they haven't missed a beat. Dawkins tagged in, got a hot tag for a while, and then Ford tagged back in and did a pretty badass frog splash. Got some serious airtime and rotated midair, and that scored the pinfall victory over Garza. So in a non-title match, the champions actually won. Wow, I'm a little surprised, because in typical WWE storytelling, the champions tend to lose these non-title matches. But the question is, where do you go now from here with the Profits? Who do they face next? Do they face the Raiders again? Is it going to be like a 3 or 4 team match at SummerSlam? I mean, that would not shock me because it's SummerSlam. We could just have a match where 4 teams are thrown together into one match. And then after the match backstage, Zelina Vega was upset, but Garza and Andrade assured her that they are on the same page, and apparently they're going to prove it. So we'll see what happens with that. We had Bayley and Sasha Banks come out, and Bayley said to show some respect for the new Raw Women's Champion, Sasha Banks. And Sasha said she fought for her championship, unlike Asuka, who had it handed to her because Becky went on maternity leave. Becky Lynch, of course. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Montez needs one great singles match to get over. Well, whenever that time comes, I'm sure Montez Ford will make the most of it. And people think he has a lot of potential, but right now the Profits seem to be doing well, and we'll have to see how the tag team plays out for the time being. So back to Bayley and Sasha. Bayley talked about the referee incident, how she put on the referee shirt and counted the pinfall. She said she had to make a split-second decision and make the right decision as a role model. This led to Asuka and Kairi Sane coming out. Kairi had a match scheduled with Bayley. Asuka wanted her championship back, and then Stephanie McMahon, that's right, Stephanie appeared on the big screen. No letter grade down because I did not have to hear her music. So if we can get Stephanie without the music, I'm okay with it. Stephanie appeared on the big screen and announced that next week there will be a rematch. Stephanie said Bayley will not be allowed to interfere. If Bayley interferes, if Sasha loses in any way, that's it for her. Although the way Stephanie worded it is that the championship can change hands in any way. So I guess theoretically, Asuka can lose the title if she's counted out or disqualified. Although I'm not even sure if she's still the champion. I think she's still the champion, but it really wasn't explained. Like Stephanie, the way she worded it, she said that Sasha did not win the match, but neither did Asuka. And next week they're going to have a match to determine who the true champion is. So it was very confusing the way that this was worded and announced for next week. They had on the graphic that the match can end in any way, but how does that give Asuka any kind of an advantage? If anything, that gives her a disadvantage. I guess if the title's vacant, then whoever wins is the champ. But, I mean, what's going on here? I'm not really sure. But I guess if Bayley interferes, even if Bayley... Because one person said, like, what happens if Bayley attacks Sasha so Asuka gets DQ'd? Can that happen? I don't know. The whole thing is confusing to me. But we're getting that match next week. And I guess we'll have an undisputed champion on next week's show. This felt very WCW 2000, where you're confused. It was not explained well. Now, apparently, Raw was rewritten and they made a lot of last-minute changes, but it really showed here. Like, this was not explained well in the script. And ZOMG Ruler with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, so many fake champion storylines, what's up with that? Maybe it was just coincidence, who knows? It just so happened that we got 2 of these storylines at one time. But yeah, you would think that WWE would not do 2 similar storylines at the same time. But, you know, with things happening and plans changing on a daily basis, I guess it could happen. Oofman Entertainment with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, guys. He says, Stephanie appeared on the screen and not at the PC. Why? It's not like there's a virus going around the PC, right? Again, this was probably written the day of the show. Maybe Stephanie was not planned to be part of the storyline, and somebody decided, Vince or whoever decided, well, we got to have somebody in an authority role make an announcement. So they had Stephanie via satellite make the announcement. Brian Spencer with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Brian. Says, when Asuka came out, it said Raw Women's Champion on her graphic. They did a bad job of explaining it. I mean, that's my assumption, that Asuka is still the champion. But, I mean, what's stopping Bayley from coming out there and attacking Sasha, and Bayley causes Sasha to win the championship by disqualification? So I'm confused about that whole aspect about it. Or if there's any interference, Asuka automatically wins. But again, that wasn't the way it was worded. It just says the match can end in any way, pinfall, submission, and a DQ if somebody interferes. And what counts as interference? Can Bayley show up on the big screen? Like, I don't understand it. They didn't explain it. Brian Spencer, thank you for that super chat. I do appreciate it. And let's get to the match here, which was Bayley versus Kairi Sane. Now, there's this report that Kairi Sane is heading back to Japan. She just got married. She wants to be with her husband full time. Asuka and Sasha were at ringside, and I was a little confused because Asuka wanted her championship back, right? Well, why not just run over and take it from Sasha? Why just let Sasha stand there with her championship that was stolen? Like, I just did not understand that either. Kind of made Asuka look weak, in my opinion. Like, if my championship was stolen, I would be going straight for that person. I would not just be standing there calmly as the person across the ring is holding my championship. But whatever. Shayna Baszler was watching the match, and she was interviewed about why she was watching the match. I mean, I think we all know why. Shayna wants to be in the match for the championship. Duh. But Shayna had to explain it. She has a vested interest in the match, and she has the kind of interest in the match the same way that a shark would have when it sees its prey. Hamp Connor with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp, former No DQ super chat champion, says, all I know is the segment led to a match. Automatic letter grade down. Well, WWE did this like 5 times on this Raw. I felt like almost every match had a promo before it to set up the match, which, you know, I'm not really the biggest fan of. I'd rather WWE would spread things out. Like, if you're going to put Seth Rollins on the show twice, have the promo at the beginning and then save his match for like the second hour or even the third hour. Just to do some different things and keep the show more interesting, in my opinion. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Kairi Sane might come back to WWE after COVID passes. I mean, I think WWE would like to keep the door open for her, so if she decides she wants to come back, she could do some matches. And yeah, that very well could be the case where maybe once things get back to normal, she'll come back to the United States and do some matches with WWE. I mean, she could end up being a goodwill ambassador for WWE in Japan. I mean, I think the idea is to keep some kind of working relationship, but for the time being, she's going to be going back to Japan. So going into this, I figured, okay, Kairi's heading out, presumably, so she's going to do the job here. But that's not what happened. Kairi did the insane elbow, could not make the cover because she hurt her arm. And then she finally made the cover. Bayley got her foot on the rope. And then Bayley did her own flying elbow, which she got a near fall from. Bayley went for the Bayley to belly, which Kairi Sane countered into a roll-up and scored the surprise 1-2-3 victory over Bayley. Maybe Kairi gets a title match on Smackdown or next week's Raw, and that's when she loses to Bayley, and that's her send-off. Maybe that's what we'll get. It'll be sad if we don't get Asuka versus Kairi, though, because they teased it on Raw Talk the other week. That would be a nice final match for Kairi. Maybe they'll tape a couple of matches with her that they can air over the next several weeks. I mean, why not? Might as well get as much in the can as you can with her, right? Ken terminated by DQ with a $3 super chat. Thank you, Ken. He says, you mean when Rocky Maivia stole Austin's IC title? Yeah, Rocky Maivia stole the title, and Steve Austin did not stand there and just let Rocky get away with holding his championship. Austin, beat the crap out of The Rock and took the title and ended up throwing it in the river. Although what's funny is if WWE did that now, people would probably hate it because Austin was basically saying, I don't care about the title. The IC title is just a stepping stone. I'm going for the WWE title. Like, imagine if somebody did that now. I think people would hate it. They would say, oh, you're devaluing the title. The title means nothing. But, that was the Attitude Era. Like, people thought that was cool. But now, I think people would crap on a segment like that if somebody just took the mid-card title and threw it away and say, I don't really care about it. I'm going for the main title. Mike B with a $3 super chat. He left a cat sticker, which is very cute. Thank you for that, Mike B. I appreciate it. We had a Drew McIntyre promo. He came to the ring and he praised Dolph Ziggler for Ziggler's effort at Extreme Rules. He almost got the job done. But now it's time to move on to other things. Drew said that SummerSlam is the biggest show since WrestleMania and he wants a worthy opponent. Dolph Ziggler interrupted the promo and said he wants one more match because he saw fear in the eyes of McIntyre for the first time in a long time. And McIntyre was basically like, get out of the ring, go to the back. And McIntyre said, if you're not going to leave, I'm going to leave. He tried to leave, but Ziggler grabbed at him. McIntyre hit the Glasgow kiss, the headbutt, and then started to walk to the back. Ziggler grabbed the mic and called McIntyre a son of a bitch. And of course, this got McIntyre's attention. And Ziggler said he just wants one more match. McIntyre could pick the stipulation, any stipulation he wants. McIntyre thought about it for a moment and accepted the challenge. But just like what Ziggler did to him at Extreme Rules, McIntyre is not going to tell Ziggler the stipulation until right before the bell rings. And of course, that match will take place on next week's Raw. So we got a pretty big Raw next week. We got the championship match with the women, Asuka versus Sasha Banks, and then we have Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler with McIntyre picking the stipulation. The game is on 100 with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Ziggler's complaining as usual. Take the loss, man. I'm curious. I gotta say, I am curious to see what stipulation McIntyre picks. Ken terminated by DQ with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Ken. Says, one more match? Ziggler's Christian Cage? I guess he is. And that was kind of the gimmick with Christian Cage, where he always wanted one more match. And this is pretty much what Ziggler was doing here. Just begging for this one more opportunity. We had Big Show backstage. And he cut a promo talking about how he knows his career is in jeopardy. He was praying that the Legend Killer would never reemerge, but, he's got to step up to the plate. And he said it might be the end of the line, but tigers, he's this old tiger, and they are the most dangerous when they need to survive. And he vowed that Randy Orton will not write the end of his story. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, I'd rather have Ricochet face McIntyre than Dolph Ziggler. Wow. That's a pretty harsh comment to make about Dolph Ziggler if you would rather see Ricochet. Because as we all know, Psycho Jet Black is the resident Ricochet hater in the No DQ chat room. We had our main event, which was Big Show versus Randy Orton. Big marquee main event that's going to bring back those viewers to Monday Night Raw. No Ric Flair. And by the way, Ric Flair's wife has COVID-19, according to Flair. Flair has denied that he is sick. But yeah, interesting to note that there was no Ric Flair on this show. Probably for the best. I mean, Ric Flair, I don't think should have been on Raw during the pandemic to begin with. But I guess it took his wife getting COVID for him to finally not be put on television and brought to the Performance Center. So anyways, we had the match, and Big Show pulled out a table. Andrade and Angel Garza showed up. They attacked Big Show, of course, unsanctioned match, which meant anything goes. The Viking Raiders made the save to even the odds. We had a commercial. When we came back from the commercial, Big Show hit the choke slam, but Orton kicked out of it. He put Randy Orton on the table and went for a Vader bomb, but Orton moved out of the way. Show crashed and burned, went through the table. Orton hit the RKO. However, Big Show kicked out of it. Orton grabbed the steel chair, used the chair, did the draping DDT, and then finally, with a second RKO, Randy Orton put away the legendary Big Show. And then after the match, Big Show was struggling to get to his feet, and Randy Orton backed into the corner. He started salivating. You saw the saliva coming out of his mouth. He was foaming at the mouth. I love this. This was great. And Randy Orton delivered the brutal punt kick to the Big Show, and he yelled at the Big Show, "I told you this was going to happen. One more legend dead." I enjoyed this. This was the best thing about Raw. Randy Orton's post-match beatdown on the Big Show. Especially the salivating, the saliva coming out of his mouth. That was great. Orton is so good. I mean, people shit on him for being mediocre or whatever, but man, he could take moments like this and make them really effective. Like, not many people can do that. He's one of those guys that can really make the most out of something simple like this, you know? He can give you that suspense and that drama. So yeah, this was a really good ending to Raw in my opinion. Rest of the show, I mean, not anything too special in my opinion. Ken terminated by DQ with a $5 super chat says, "I always find Dolph Ziggler as a good worker, but I have to agree with Psycho Jet Black. Hearing Dolph Ziggler on the mic is as painful as Vince Russo's booking in TNA. How about as painful as Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff running TNA? I think that's even better than Vince Russo booking TNA." So let's go ahead and do the letter grade. Due to the end, I'm going to bump it up a little bit. I'm going to give Raw a C+. Not a great show by any means, but it was all right. And the ending with Orton to build him up even further, I did like that. Michael Wayne with a C+, Mike B with a C, Curtis Butler with a B-, Kev with a C+, Dr. NXT Scorpio with a C-, Gamers on 100 with a C+, Ace and his Familia Vlogs with a B, Michael Gonzalez with a B-, and Trey Johnson with a C+. Brian Spencer with a C-, Darren with a B, and Mr. Heavy Metal Hero Dude with a B as well. Jeff, good old JM, gives it a C+. So, some B's, some C's, pretty solid for Raw this week. Not too bad, considering that they rewrote the show and it's a 3-hour show every week and the usual complaints. It was a decent show. DJW with a $5 super chat. Thank you, DJ. I do appreciate it. He says, do you think Charlotte's diving corkscrew moonsault from the top rope to the outside at WrestleMania 35, the best top rope move you've seen from a female performer? Probably. I mean, Charlotte, she does some really impressive stuff athletically. She sometimes doesn't get enough credit, and I think it's just because she's on TV so much. I think she's been overexposed, and people say, oh, you know, she's Ric Flair's daughter. That's the only reason she's getting a push. But she's a great athlete. She's actually a damn good athlete, and I think she deserves the credit for really stepping up to the plate and putting on some solid performances. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, should Randy Orton give Ric Flair a punt for heat? I do not think Ric Flair should be on television during the pandemic. That's my opinion. He should stay home. So no. Unless Ric Flair is attacked at his home, Randy Orton goes to Flair's home. But no, I don't think you need to do that. I think Orton's getting enough heat doing what he's doing. And Hamp Kana with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Hamp. He says, will there be a no DQ&A video this Saturday? Somebody stole my property and I want back what's mine. Yes, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific on Saturday. I will be posting a new no DQ&A video. And maybe Hamp Kana will reclaim the no DQ Super Chat Championship. Or maybe Adrian will keep going with it. Good old JM sent in $2. Thank you, Jeff. He says, who's between Freddie and Jason on the shirt? Michael Myers is on it and Leatherface. Those are the four. So the four horsemen of the horror world, so to speak. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, hey, Rick Shady, have you seen Leprechaun and the Hood? No, I have not, Psycho Jet Black. And DJW with a $2 super chat says, do you think Shane O'Mac is ever coming back? Probably. I mean, there's always opportunities for him to come back. It's just a matter if WWE wants to bring him back for whatever reason. I mean, he could come back and be a babyface GM again, but I don't know. I think it just depends. If there's a storyline where it calls for Shane McMahon, he'll be back. Or if WWE's desperate enough, they'll bring him back. Who knows? I would say there's always a possibility of him coming back. I would say he probably will be back at some point. And Hamp Kana with a $5 super chat. He says, give your opinion on the biggest example of throwing money away from WWE and WCW. WCW, Hulk Hogan versus Goldberg on Nitro. That should have been a pay-per-view match. They could have made so much money from a pay-per-view buy rate from that match. Instead, they had to pop a rating, and they beat Raw one week, Raw won the next week. So they left a lot of money on the table with that one. And WWE, Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff hugging on Bischoff's debut night in 2002. Like, Bischoff should have been part of the invasion. Like, that would have been huge. Vince versus Bischoff, part 2. But instead, Bischoff shows up, him and Vince hug, they're besties, and then Bischoff is just the general manager. Like, they should have done something significant with Bischoff versus Vince McMahon, and they never really did it. So to me, they left a lot of money on the table with that one. DJW with the $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, Sting versus Taker, it's never too late, damn it. Well, I suppose they could do the cinematic match, but I don't know. I'm getting sick of the cinematic matches, to be totally honest at this point. I'm getting burned out on them. I think WWE is running out of ideas, and they're going to the well too many times. That's what I said on the live stream, and that's pretty much how I feel. I feel like they should do one every couple of months. At first, I was like, yeah, maybe during the pandemic, do one a month. But now that the pandemic keeps getting stretched out and the virus is still a big problem, WWE cannot do shows with fans, and they feel like they have to keep doing the cinematic matches to try and keep people invested in the product. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Undertaker versus Bart Gunn would be a better match. Yeah, I'm sure that would be a knockout kind of match. Undertaker would knock him out in about 30 seconds, just like Butterbean did. And Hamp Kana with a $2 super chat says, I agree with WCW. WWE, I think Austin and Goldberg. Yeah, that too. That's right up there. Never booking that match, Austin versus Goldberg, I think it was a big mistake. Austin versus Hogan too, although you could put that on Austin, I think, more than WWE, because Austin did not really want to do a match with Hogan and be part of a program with Hogan. But yeah, Austin versus Goldberg, WWE should have made it happen. And Ken terminated by DQ with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Ken. He says, Rift, but do you want to see Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff together during the invasion? They hate each other as a work and in real life. Well, I would not have minded a three-way invasion with ECW, or maybe Heyman and Bischoff got together. That would have been better than Stephanie, for sure. Stephanie, as the owner of ECW, never really felt right to me. I think if Heyman was running ECW and Bischoff was running WCW and they were together, Austin did not turn heel, you brought in Goldberg, man, that would have been hot. That would have been a really great invasion storyline, but they half-assed it. What else can I say? Anyways, guys, that'll wrap it up for this live stream. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest news and rumors. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, whenever you're watching this, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific, the No DQ review is back. We'll be doing a special post-Extreme Rules edition. Tune in for that. Stay positive, everyone. Be safe, and I will see you guys next time.